Broadcasting from the Bayou State and all around the Gulf Coast and streaming nationwide. This is the C.L. Bryant Show.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to your Thursday, the gateway to the weekend. And this is the C.L. Bryant Show. I am C.L. Bryant. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight, and to all of our friends here in the jeweled cities of the Arklatex, along with the folks in southern Arkansas and East Texas. Thank you for being there. And we want to say hello to also the folks up there in Wilmington, North Carolina at WLTT 1180 in Wilmington. They have welcomed us into their family. Thank you as well. Looking forward to going forth into Phoenix, Denver. We're already in North Carolina and down south. That's the place I've been not thinking about, is down into southern Florida. We're going to be headed down that way as well here in the very near future, expanding the show. And, of course, we are streaming live throughout the greatest nation on the face of the earth, the greatest success story the world has ever known, and that is America. And to all you Americans, I want to thank you for being there. All of our sponsors who sponsor the C.L. Bryant Show and have been doing it for a long time, I want to thank you too. A lot to talk about today. I have on with me Juan Newsom. He is an IT specialist, works on Wall Street. I'm going to talk about this Russian hacking a little bit more, because it is really beginning to invade the news media. I mean, it's just absolutely permeating throughout the news cycle. I want to bring some clarity about that to you so that you'll understand exactly what's going on. I had a call last night who was saying that, what's the big deal? I mean, what is the big deal? And I'm going to talk about that here in just a little bit. Dodie Horton, State Representative Dodie Horton, will be here with me live in studio. She has a bill that she is sponsoring that will amend some things as far as our spending is concerned. I'll let her tell you all about that when she is in the studio. Now, repealing and replacing Obamacare, it may not be some easy thing. We're seeing the infighting beginning already in the Republican Party. Now, I know that there are a lot of people who are for it and a lot of people who are against it. It has not been good for the economy. We can tell you that. That's for certain. But the one thing that is on the mind of at least Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky is the repealing and replacing of Obamacare. What would it cost us over a 10-year period? Rand Paul is saying that in the form that the Republicans are looking at doing it right now, it would cost us an additional $9.7 trillion over a 10-year period. That wouldn't be good. And in the form that the Republicans are wanting to do it now, Rand is saying that the Republican plan would never balance the budget. Now, let's just take a breath here for a minute. Let's just think about this for a minute, because, see, most of the people who listen to this show, of course, we have raving liberals who listen to the show. We have people who want to spend. I have Bernie Sanders supporters who listen to the show. They want to spend all of your money, spend all of my money, spend all of their money. Well, most Bernie Sanders supporters don't have any money. That's just the way that is. But they listen to the show. So let's talk about this. Now, you have people who claim to be conservatives not wanting to balance a budget. That's not good. You do have people who are Republican and conservatives who do want to repeal and replace Obamacare. That is good. The question on the table is, how do you do both? How do you replace Obamacare with something that is feasible without adding $9.7 trillion over a 10-year period of time to the already overburdened debt that we have in this country? How do you do that? Now, I know Rand. Rand and I have done events together over the last 6 years. And I know Rand. And often misunderstood, very libertarian in his approach to things. There's no question about that. maybe a Republican in name only, in a good way, as far as that is concerned. But this is what I'm wanting you to understand, is that we have to come to some kind of agreement on how to do this, and not do it just for the sake of saying we kept a promise. You don't want to jump out of the fire into the frying pan. Oh, how's it go? You don't jump out of the frying pan into the fire. Yeah. And yes, we can keep our promises. We can definitely keep our promises. And I have a feeling that President-elect Trump will keep the promise of repealing and replacing Obamacare. He's bound to do that. That's just not saying something. He's bound to do that. He was elected to do that. And so that's what he will do. I do believe that. I believe he'll see to that getting done. He has all the tools at his disposal to do that. And so let's just keep an eye on it, because the cost of our freedom is, in fact, eternal vigilance, according to T.J. Thomas Jefferson. And we must make certain that we keep our word this time to the American people. We had elected John Boehner. You know the story. You know the story. We had given John Boehner the gavel. We had given Mitch McConnell the majority in the Senate, and we had expected them to do certain things. John Roberts, Supreme Court Justice, we expected him to do a certain thing, but he didn't. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. And we're going to be talking about John Roberts and Obamacare, as far as what happened, what failed here constitutionally, a little bit tomorrow. It'll be very intriguing. I promise you. You want to hear it. But they failed us. So in the rush to repeal and replace, let's not trip over ourselves so we look like fools down the road. And I really feel like that's all Rand's trying to say. We just don't want to look like idiots down the road, because you know that the progressive liberals and the Dems are laying in the weeds, wanting us to fail. So let's be smart. I'm CL. Back in a minute. CL. Thursday in the jeweled cities of the Arklatex, and I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me here today. Later on in the show, State Representative Dodie Horton will be joining me here in studio, and we're going to talk about a bill that she is introducing that will, in fact, alter some things that our money is being spent for. And I think it's the bill that she's authoring. I'm going to let her tell you about it. Is long overdue. And then we're going to have a young man in from Wall Street to talk about what's going on, what the real deal is with this Russian spying or hacking. And then I want to talk to him also about this thing that happened up in Chicago with the gentleman who was abducted and held against his will there in Chicago. We're going to talk deeply. We're going to talk deeply about that when we come in with Juan Newsom. Now, let's warm up this conversation here about what's happening with the Russians. Now, folks, listen. All of a sudden, we have the Obama administration just all up in the air about the Russians and espionage and all of that that's going on. Now, there is something that has been bandied about in the fake news media here. And yes, ABC, NBC, CBS, basically it's CNN, MSNBC. You can lump them all into the category of fake news. They usually crank out and produce fake news. But let's talk about the real news here and the facts. You do know that we spy on our enemies all the time. Oh, yeah, we do that. And in turn, they spy on us. That's called gentleman espionage. That's what it's called. It's called gentleman espionage. We spy on you, you spy on us, and the game that's played is it's a kabuki dance. You don't think that you don't say that we're doing it. We don't say that you're doing it, but we know that you're there. And the whole idea and the end game and the good thing about it is that it gives us a chance to improve our security. You have some 16, 14-year-old kid out there, though, who says, hey, I'm a whiz at this. I can crack into anything. And they do. And that's basically what Donald Trump is saying. And what Julian Assange said is that, hey, some 14-year-old kid could have actually hacked into the DNC frame there and stolen the information. The Russians didn't necessarily have to do it. However, we pay billions of dollars a year to finance security in this country. And all 17 of our agencies are saying it was the Russians. Now here's the intersection that's kind of crazy. The 17 agencies are saying it was the Russians. However, the vice president-elect is saying that we don't know that. He's right. We really don't. But this is the problem that he's running into. Either he's saying that he trusts his intel, or he's saying that he doesn't. That's the story that the fake news is trying to print out there. But simple as this. We spend a lot of money for that kind of intelligence. They're telling us that the Russians are doing it. 320-5335, 320-5335 is the number to call. Michelle, who do we have?
We have Stephen, and he's not a socialist.
Okay, it's not social, Stephen?
No,
Okay. All right. Thank you for listening. Thank you for calling, friend. What's on your mind?
Well, my name is Stephen. I own an IT consulting firm here in town. I just wanted to talk about the Russian hackers.
Let's talk about that. What's your perspective on it? What's your take on it?
Well, my perspective is one that you're not going to hear about in the mainstream media, which is essentially, first of all, I run multiple businesses in town use me for their IT consulting. So I have several websites and email servers that I keep up. And I'm going to tell you that hacking is a daily occurrence. I can show you a list of thousands of different IP addresses that have tried to hack my website and my email server that I host for my company. And so for them to act like oh, this is some big deal, some novel thing is just kind of ridiculous to me.
You're right. Let me ask you this, Stephen, about John McCain saying this is an act of war. I thought that was a bit far. What do you think?
If hacking is an act of war, then we should be at war with every nation on Earth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because every nation on Earth is constantly, and not only that, but they should be at war with us because we have hackers that are trying to hack into their systems constantly as well.
It's the game that we play living in the free world in America and living in the world, period, in the age of cyberspace. Is that right? Is that what you're telling us?
That's absolutely correct. And I think that primarily what they're trying to do is they're trying to avoid the issue, the topic of what information was uncovered by the hack.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, Stephen, I have watched the Obama administration for 8 years, and I don't recall them saying anything about Russian espionage until Hillary lost this election. That's just the way I'm seeing it. I have never heard him run anybody, diplomats or anybody out of the country over espionage, and it's been going on, like you said, forever. I've never heard him raise the eyebrows. Is this really about politics? And
It's absolutely about politics. Because I love your program, and like you were talking about Ron Paul earlier, I consider myself more of a libertarian leaning person than the strict Republican. Did you get a chance to read through some of the WikiLeaks emails?
Yeah, I have.
Well, what was uncovered was that you've got ABC, CBS, NBC, Huffington Post, Salon, Politico, even up to the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, all have journalists that had to. They would write a political journal or
op-ed,
and they would have to send that to Hillary Clinton's campaign.
Yeah.
To have it approved before they could air it.
Yeah, and you know, regardless of what you think about Julian Assange, folks, there is information that Julian did share with us, the citizens, that maybe we should know. Listen, Stephen, I got to go. I hear the music, man. Call me more often, and certainly thank you for the work that you do.
I love your show, man. Have a nice day.
Thank you, brother. I'll be back. I'm CL. CL. Back on this Thursday, gateway to the weekend here in the jeweled cities of the Arklatex, my hometown Shreveport, Louisiana, and Bossier City. And I want to welcome aboard all of our friends throughout the Arklatex, southern Arkansas, and East Texas in particular. And you're hearing us in North Carolina. They're at WLTT 1180. They're in Wilmington, North Carolina, and throughout the fruited plains of the greatest nation on the face of the earth, the greatest success story the world has ever known, and that is America. 320-5335, 320-5335 is the number to call. I'm going to take Rodney. Rodney, thank you for listening. Thank you for calling, friend. What's on your mind?
I've been listening to all of this email stuff, the hacking business, and I think, if the president would have got off his lazy butt and had the government do what they should, like the Justice Department and the FBI, Hillary would already be in jail if he put as much effort in it as he's doing this.
And you know what? He should have paid more attention to, if this is such a big, like you're saying, Rodney, if this was such a big deal, then why wasn't it a big deal when it was going on right under his nose? That's the problem that you and me and other Americans are having with this. And hey, just like the last caller, Stephen, was saying, we know this goes on all the time. I mean, this happens all the time. Why now? I didn't hear him say nothing about espionage, hacking, Russians, or anything like that until Hillary lost this election. Did you hear him say anything about that?
No, not a thing.
Nobody did.
Yeah.
Nobody did, Rodney. Anything else, friend?
That's it. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for calling, Rodney and Stephen. Yes. Hey, listen, folks. John McCain's calling an act of war. I think that's a bridge too far. Now, believe me, I respect John McCain as far as his war record. He is a bona fide war hero, that is for sure. But keep in mind, John McCain is an enemy of Donald Trump. He does not like Donald Trump, never has. And I'm seeing a lot of the mainstreams, quote unquote, Republicans who were totally against Trump, trying to find something now as far as fault is concerned with him. They're actually trying to paint the president-elect as someone who is sympathetic to the Russians. I don't think that's the case at all. I think he's just sympathetic to common sense. I think he's sympathetic to the conversations that Rodney and Stephen and myself and all the rest of us are having here about this conversation. And I think he's sympathetic to the fact that none of this came up. None of this came up before Hillary was defeated. And guess what, folks? If Hillary had won, this still wouldn't be coming up. Are you hearing me? This still would not be coming up. So you got James Clapper, who is director of the National Intelligence, along with the other 17 agencies that we pay a lot of money for. We pay a lot of money for intelligence worldwide. And we had all of the chiefs assemble today. And, all of them agree that the Russians are behind it. But none of them are talking in this vein. What did they do? I mean, what would the outcome of this election have been any different if they hadn't been meddling around? Let's go to Israel right quick. Let's fly over there right quick. You remember, although the news media doesn't talk about it at all, but you do remember that the Israeli government said for sure that Obama tried to tamper in the race that Benjamin Netanyahu was running over there when he was trying to become prime minister again. What am I saying? I'm saying that we do this all the time. Was that an act of war against Israel by our American president, his administration, tampering in the Israeli election? Come on, let's get real now. There's too much on our plates for us to be dilly-dallying around about something right now that doesn't matter anyway. Protect our nukes, protect our people from the Russians, and by all means, protect us from the Looney Tunes who actually do matter, and that's those Iranians and that nut in Northern Korea, Kim Jong-un, who really can do us some good. Putin already knows the consequences of messing with us too much. Our economy is 100 times greater than his. But he is modernizing his military. And I do believe that DJT, Donald J. Trump, will modernize our military. Did you hear Derek Wilburn the other day when he was on the show? And I'm still checking this out. I'm still scratching my head over this. Derek Wilburn said that we don't have a battleship in the water right now. The Eisenhower has been taken out of the water. And I can't remember the other one that has been taken out of the water. We don't have a battleship in the water right now in these dangerous times in the world. And we're messing around with who may have messed with Hillary Clinton not becoming president of the United States. She's the reason she didn't become president of the United States. We were tired of both her and we were tired of both him. And we did not want another term of Barack Obama. How loud can the people say it? Well, they're saying, well, she won the popular vote. Take away Los Angeles. Says she won the popular vote by over 2 million, nearly 3 million votes. Take away Los Angeles votes altogether. She loses the popular vote then by 1 million votes. That, my friends, is the argument as to why the Electoral College should work, because we would have had a president that would have been elected by California if we had gone with the popular vote. She would have lost it anyway. Hey, so let's pay attention to what's really going on, because, listen, the fake news media and all of that is really out of hand. You got to pay attention. You got to pay attention, or we can lose our liberty. We got a good chance to do something good. Let's do it. I'll be back in just a minute.
Broadcasting from the Bayou State and all around the Gulf Coast and streaming nationwide. This is the C.L. Bryant Show.
Welcome back. It is I, your native son, C.L. Bryant, here in the jeweled cities of the Arklatex, Shreveport, and Bossier City, and we're streaming live throughout the greatest nation on the face of the earth, the greatest success story the world has ever known, and that is America. All you folks in southern Arkansas and East Texas, thank you for being there. And to our friends in North Carolina, Wilmington, North Carolina, thank you for having us in the family there at WLTT 1180. On the line now, joining me is almost a regular on the show, Juan Newsom. He is an IT specialist extraordinaire there on Wall Street. And you can check him out at cureradioshow.com, cureradioshow.com. And he is in the financial sector as well, obviously, being there on Wall Street. Juan, welcome back to the C.L. Bryant Show. How have you been, man?
I'm fine, Reverend. I'm blessed. How are you doing?
Really good. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too, sir.
One, we have been kicking around here with several guests what's going on. I haven't heard Obama say anything about Russian espionage or anything else as far as the Russians are concerned ever in 8 years until Hillary lost this election. Give us your skinny. Of course, I'm hearing John McCain saying it's an act of war. Well, I guess we're at war with everybody then because everybody spies on us, we spy on them. Give us your take on it.
Well, spying is nothing new. And the Russians actually didn't hack us. They didn't spy on us. A lot of that information that went to WikiLeaks and those other sites, those were insiders providing that information to WikiLeaks. And so there was no Russian hack. And it's absurd. When you look at spying, it's something that this country has been doing consistently and other countries on us, ever since, I would say, World War II. And so spying is just a way of life. We have, what I like to call frenemies.
Frenemies.
Amongst our allies.
Even our friends spy on us, right?
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
Right. That's why the Israelis knew, you look at this deal in the UN, the Israelis knew that the Obama administration was behind the scenes because they have a pretty sophisticated spy network.
Yeah.
And so it's something that's been done from time and time again. And Obama, the funny thing about Obama, he's been capitulating to Russia for 8 years now.
He has been. He has almost been Putin's lapdog and he hasn't said a word until now.
He hasn't said one word. That the activity that's going on at the Russian border has been going on for a few years now.
Yeah.
When Obama was a senator, him and Richard Lugar, they passed this New START treaty, and they basically, some of our allies in that region, they lowered their munitions and their arms.
I have forgotten that. I have forgotten that one. That Lugar was. Go ahead.
Lugar was with them, and then also Poland. We didn't install the missile defense shield for Poland, and so he's been capitulating towards Russia forever. So to see him take a tough stance on Russia, it's absurd.
So when we hear President-elect Trump say that, hey, you guys need to hold your horses, because you guys are just running down the road like a team of horses let loose in the streets of Spain, or bulls let loose in the streets of Spain. Trump is actually right on that, isn't he?
He's spot on. And I think with Trump in office, we'll finally get some strength in that White House.
Yeah.
When you look at the activity in the White House now, they're basically trying to lock his hands, and they really can't. You can't lock Trump's hands with executive order.
No.
That's just absurd.
What's so beautiful about the presidency when he finally becomes president of the United States is that he's not beholden to anybody, and this is what I like about that. Somebody may say, "Well, that's dangerous because you may not." We will be able to keep him in the role is because certain people did elect him. It was certain people who elected him. Among them, you and me, and some people in this room with me right now. We did elect him, and I think he has the business acumen to understand where his bread is buttered if he wants to remain president. That's the common sense that I think he's bringing to the office. So, folks, you're hearing IT specialist there on Wall Street. And I want to tell you something. It's just not another guy we're talking to here right now. We're talking to Juan Newsom. And let me tell you something. Juan has told you from his expert opinion that this was inside information that was given to WikiLeaks that was leaked to us, period, here. It wasn't the Russians. That it's Juan, you actually used the word, it's absurd to think that it was the Russians when evidently this information was inside. It came from inside. It's crazy.
And I think people don't understand Obama's motivation. See, Obama is an anti-colonialist, and he's a redistributionist. Obama trying to drive a wedge in between Trump and Putin is all about the radicals taking over that region. You look at his actions, the Obama administration actions in Egypt, in Libya, and in other places in the Middle East, they all back radicals.
Right.
If Putin doesn't get help from the United States, Russia has one of the strongest standing armies in the world.
They do.
But they don't have the intelligence and, the technology capability of America. They need that expertise on the ground.
Right.
And Putin is all about Trump because of ISIS. They want to get rid of ISIS.
They want to get rid of ISIS. Right now, the friend of the enemy of my friend is my friend. Or whatever it is. I forget how they go. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, or whatever it is, how that goes. You know what I'm talking about, and that's what Russia and America has in common with Trump becoming president of the United States, our common enemy. And Trump has called it what it is, and that is Islamic terror. And Putin has experienced Islamic terror there as his own country has been targeted. So that makes the two of those leaders, two world power leaders, of course, we're still the greatest superpower in the world, but it makes them actually friends on that point alone. Let's destroy ISIS, and then let's go into the Cold War. And for full disclosure, Juan, we want to tell everybody, I am not supporting Julian Assange in any way. I'm not defending Julian Assange in any way, but I'm just simply telling you, Trump is right. We've got this cart before the horse on this. When we come back, Juan Newsom, I want to talk to you about this thing that's happened up in Chicago. And now, both of us being conservatives and black, as far as that's concerned, we have to speak to this because there's a level of lunacy that is taking place in Chicago that we have to speak to. Nobody else is doing it. I haven't heard the president say anything about what happened over these last 48 hours as far as this white kid being abducted, and then 4 black kids who were tormenting him. And Juan, yesterday, and I'm going to get your opinion on it when we come back and let you talk, I'm going to let you speak to it. But yesterday, Juan, just so you get something to marinate on through the break, is I think people like that, whether they're black or whether they're white, whether they wear a sheet or whether they call themselves Black Panthers or whatever, they're all the same people. These kids would have done the same thing back in the days of slavery if their skin was white. They would have done the same thing. And so we're going to talk about that when we come back with Juan Newsom, IT specialist there on Wall Street. When I return, I'm CL. CL. Thursday in the jewel cities of the Arklatex, on with finance and IT specialist extraordinaire, coming to us live from Wall Street, the hub of finance in America, Juan Newsom. And Juan, we've solved the WikiLeaks and the Russian problem. We've solved that for now. But I'll get back with
Almost.
you. I'll get back with you after the election, and we'll talk about that a little bit more after the election. But now I do want to talk to you about something else we need to talk about, and hopefully we can solve this. But this thing that's running rampant here in this country, I haven't heard Al Sharpton. I haven't heard Jesse Jackson, none of the usual suspects who always scream bloody murder when something is just outrageously done. The words law and order, why is there an aversion to that in the inner city communities? It seems as though they think that's some kind of code word for something that it's not. One, speak to this thing that's happening in Chicago. Chicago has become worse than the Wild West. Worst.
Yep.
What has led to that in your estimation?
A lot of, in Chicago and a lot of these inner cities, it's the same symptoms. I mean, you look at, the poverty there. You look at the single-parent homes. The root of it, really the root of it, and that's what no one's talking about. I mean, you look in these, because we're here in New Jersey, and me and my wife, we used to volunteer in some of these communities, like Newark, New Jersey, and the repeat theme is that there are no fathers for our children.
That's the thing that's happening.
Fathers.
Go ahead, Ron.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
No, that's the thing that's happening. You hit the nail on the head. There is a common denominator here as far as what's happening in America with the family. The disintegration of the family starts with a fatherless home. Now, I know that in progressive liberal America, we're saying that maybe that's a good thing. I don't think so. I really don't think so. And also, this is something that I have not, that I hope we don't fall into. And that is, these kids are victims because of their environment. Is there not a word called rise above it? Isn't that the words that we use about rising above stuff? Can we do that?
We used to do that. And, in order to have that type of mindset, you have to have, stable homes, two-parent homes. And what the left has done over time, they've destroyed the family.
Yeah.
You look at the black community, you look at, the 60s when LBJ's Great Society and they started rolling out all of these entitlements, the fatherless rates in the homes went up, in the black community, and they're doing the same. They're doing the same thing in the rest of the communities. You have all these push for, alternative lifestyles. And, you look on TV, they're always bashing men, the fathers. And, the left hates strong homes. And you know why? Because they can't pass their agenda if you have homes with fathers in them. You can't pass gun control laws or repeal the Second Amendment with fathers in their homes.
Wow.
You can't pass all of these transgender bathroom laws in the schools if you have fathers in the home
with their daughters and their sons.
Exactly.
You can't do it.
Exactly.
You know what? You hit the nail on the head, man. I'm telling you, you're on fire tonight because there is money. One, would you say there's money in keeping them victims?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You look at not only Sharpton and Jackson because they raise money for their organizations, but you look at all of these studies. The left really owns the world. You look at the grand scheme of it. They own Hollywood,
France.
They own TV. They own print. They own the education system. Common Core. So many people got paid off of Common Core.
Yeah, buddy.
They own the world.
Yeah, buddy. And they also own this thing. Al Gore became a billionaire on climate change.
Absolutely.
A billionaire with
on an industry that doesn't make anything.
That doesn't.
They're not raking in profits.
They don't make a thing. It contributes nothing to the economy of this country, and it's a theory. It's not even It's a theory. And so, Juan Newsom, I always enjoy talking to you. I always enjoy talking to you, man, and I want to have you back after the show. Tell us a little bit about this Cure Radio here. Tell us about that.
Well, it's my little startup. I'm on the internet. I also do other shows like yours, Reverend. Yours is my favorite out of all the shows that I do.
Well, I'll come on yours. I'll come on your show.
Oh, that would be awesome.
I'll come on your show, brother. Man, I'll come on the show. Just give me Sean Hannity.
Awesome.
I thought I was in when Beck and Hannity said they'd come on my show. Man, I feel exactly. But I will come on your show, no problem whatsoever. Give me set it up with Michelle. I'll come on.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you.
Listen,
It's always nice to talk to you, Reverend. I mean, I don't know, for a guy like me to see you in the seat that you're in and all of the things you've done, Runaway Slave, and, you know, all of the different speaking engagements, and, you know, I love being on your show. I love your show, period, when I'm not on it. You know, I can just tell you're just a good man, Reverend. And,
God bless you, man.
You know, I can tell your heart is in this.
Yeah, I'll come on your show,
I
man.
can just tell.
I'll do it. And that, folks, that's CureRadioShow.com. Check out Juan Newsom. Check him out at CureRadioShow.com. Let's give him some listeners out there. Let's boost him. Let's do it. Let's help him. Listen, Juan, God bless you. God keep you is my prayer for you, and I look forward to talking to you real soon, especially after November 20th. I'm going to come back in and let's sort of do a little postmortem on what happened. Hey, by the way, you do know that the Cannabis Society, I think that's what they call themselves, they'll be passing out joints, free joints, on the streets of Washington, D.C. on Inauguration Day. What have we come to? What have we come to, brother? It's just sad, man, to think.
We can't have anything nice. They just want to ruin it.
Want to mess it up. If it was just you and me talking, I'd tell you what my daddy used to say about that. But anyway, listen, you take good care of yourself, and I will talk to you real soon. Juan Newsom. Juan Newsom has been on with me, and you all go to CureRadioShow.com, CureRadioShow.com, and catch him there. I'm CL. We're going to be back here after the break with State Representative Dodie Foster in just Dodie Foster, Dodie Horton. You know what? No, Dodie, didn't you? Dodie Foster's a movie star, isn't she? Jodie Foster. Jodie Foster. I knew that was a movie star somewhere. Okay, Dodie, my good friend. As you know, I know her name. Dodie Horton will be here with me when I return. Back in a minute.
Next to your fire.